Here in Richmond, Virginia, City Stadium has hosted so much history here throughout its tenure across U.S. soccer. Today, the Richmond Kickers hosting Greenville and potentially the biggest matchup in their new era in USL League One. Today, the match presented by Bon Secours and, of course, the Bon Secours Cup on the line as well. Some hardware for these two meeting up for the third and final time this season. Oh, Greenville so hot of late. In their last 10 matches, 21 points on the board. But Richmond looking to play spoiler here in USL League One. And they have some evidence of that of late as well. So much success coming off of a 4-goal performance against Tormenta. That's their most in a game this season. And you can see in their last 6 matches, 4-1-1. The offense has come through with 10 goals over that stretch, and the defense as well. 2 clean sheets and 4 goals allowed over this recent stretch, and really a formation change as well, switching between that back 3, back 5, depending on if they're in possession. And keep in mind, Richmond, the most matches remaining to be played of any League One team. They're at only 25 points on the table, but a lot of room to grow, and it can start today with a good result against the Triumph. And when you have players like Joe Gallardo, Dennis Chin, an experienced force up top, and a creative one in Gallardo, you can really make things happen against a maybe depleted side today in the Greenville Triumph. So much success of late, as I mentioned, but at the same time, they're missing, I guess you could call it, 4 starters on the board. Jay Keegan injured, Dallas J. Omar Muhammad away on international duty, and also Paul Clouds, who has been on the bench and a starter throughout the season consistently. He's away on a yellow card accumulation suspension. So to be seen what this Greenville side can do in terms of continuing that momentum. They were missing a lot of these pieces in the win against Forward Madison last week. So you have to think maybe they can adjust to this. They have been cohesive throughout the season, but it is to be seen if they can continue the same momentum, get a big 3 points on the road, and of course lift the cup that is on the line here today between these two sides, as Dallas J will be not between the pipes here today, as he is pretty clearly the Golden Glove leader at this point in USL League One. Richmond, Greenville, a regional battle coming up next, and some hardware on the line as well. 2 teams eager for the playoffs. We'll see who can come out on top.
CBS 6, our office is out here.
New faces.
New players.
New ownership. New challenges.
New league.
New opponents.
New rivals.
Joyful. Authentic.
United.
Still your team.
Still obvious on.
Still the Richmond Kickers.
There's a lot of people that are vulnerable that can't fight for themselves, and that's where I can have the most impact as an investigative reporter. I see the result of people being taken advantage of. It makes me feel sick. I actually like pouring through documents. I get super excited when you find something that can hold somebody accountable. I'm Melissa Hippolyte, and I'm working for you.
New faces.
New players.
New ownership. New challenges.
New league.
New opponents.
New rivals.
Joyful. Authentic.
United.
Still your team.
Still obvious on.
Still the Richmond Kickers.
Creative one in Gallardo. You can really make things happen against a welcome back maybe here depleted into City. So much success of late, as I mentioned, but at the getting set to go at it. And both teams coming out onto the field. And today also Cider Fest here at City Stadium, as all the fans coming out. And of course the Red Army, always loud and proud here in Richmond, Virginia. RVA's own getting set here to support the Richmond Kickers as they try to play spoiler, but they still, of course, have a chance to make the playoffs. A slim one, but a great run of form like they've had, and they will be right in there. David Bulow's side here in front of us. Typical formation we've seen of late, along with no changes from the big victory, 4-1 over Tormenta. And a struggling side there in Statesboro, but Richmond taking advantage, getting those 3 points despite giving up the opening goal. So we'll see if they can continue that same momentum on the other side. Of course, Greenville also a hot team. They are unbeaten in their last 6 to this point, only one of 2 teams along with Lansing to have a stretch of that or more on the table. Donnelly up top once again, just as soon as he got working on that chemistry with Keegan at the top. Now Keegan having to take a step back with that injury today as he's outside the 18 looking in. Here's what's on the line, the Bon Secours Cup here in this regional rivalry. And funny enough, both these teams getting 1-0 results in the previous 2 matchups. This is the third and final one this season. So it all comes down to today, who will hoist the cup. It'll be the first hardware for either side in their new League One era. And as we look down over City Stadium, fantastic crowd per the usual for the former USL Championship side. Richmond in a new era, and it was really a struggle in the first half of the year, but bouncing back in the last few, including a huge string of road victories. And Richmond, keep in mind, they were the first team to go into BMO Training Grounds and take down Toronto FC2. You see David Bulow in the middle of the pack there. If there's a man that knows what it means to succeed here in Richmond with the Kickers, it's him. 2 stints overall in his career, 45 career goals in over 120 appearances, and now right at home, taking over for his first full season and looking to lead his side towards the playoffs. And today, meeting up with John Harkes and Greenville, another one of those experienced former players now taking over the coaching reins, the former FC Cincinnati head coach, bringing much of his talent from those days in USL Championship over for the Triumph. As the Triumph coming into this one 4-3-4 on the road, and those 4 road victories coming all in the second half of the season. So you can see the turnaround that Greenville has undergone as well across that stretch. Greenville 5 matches remaining after today, Richmond 6. So a lot left to play in front of both of these teams as we look down over City Stadium. Joe Gallardo over the ball. He is your player of the week in USL League One. Had a brace against Tormenta, and if you have not seen those goals, definitely check them out. Dribbling through the entire Tormenta defense for the one and the other, about nearly at midfield, lofting one past Hara. And he's been so key this season. He's the one that got the goal against Greenville that was the difference in their matchup earlier this season that involved a victory for Richmond. Both those matchups, though, April 20th, May 18th. We're way deep into September now of the season, and these sides certainly different as they kick it off here from City Stadium. And we begin Greenville and Richmond, Part 3. This time, the Bon Secours Cup on the line, and it's out of play early on for a Richmond throw-in. And I'm Chris McKoviak here bringing the action from City Stadium in Richmond, Virginia. So much history here, but a new era for the Richmond Kickers as they move deeper into this season. And we'll see if they can get to the playoffs as well. They are playing spoiler here for Greenville, but keep in mind, they do embrace this underdog mentality, but they are right in the thick of things of this playoff race. So many teams still in it. Just one officially eliminated in Orlando City B, and just one team so far locking up a playoff spot, and that is North Texas SC, and they did that with their win on Sunday against Toronto FC2. Greenville moving the ball around the back, as I mentioned, in their last 10 matches, their best stretch of the season. 21 points on the board, just 4 goals allowed over those 10 games, and 8 clean sheets. They've been so impressive. And coming off of that 1-0 victory over Madison, where the Chris Bermudez strike was the difference at the end of the day in a tough defensive battle. And funny enough, between Madison and Greenville, their 3 matchups this season, that was the lone goal scored in all 270 minutes. This ball ricocheted out of play. And this battle, of course, 180 minutes, just 2 goals combined between the 2 sides. As it'll be Eli Lockaby, former VCU man, taking it in. One of those wing backs in this new look formation that Coach Bulow says really came about after their matchup with North Carolina FC in the U.S. Open Cup. And they're trying out something new, went from the back four to this different look, and you have to say it really helps out the wingbacks getting forward. Some new attacking threats out there for Richmond. And a sturdy back line, Shinoski, Magales, and Akwe in there of today. Miguel Uribe getting the start, of course, for Dallas J. His first action this season in League One, as Jay has seen all starts in this campaign for the Triumph. And it's not so much missing starters out there, because it's always going to be next man up for any coach in this league. But at the same time, just the consistency of a sturdy presence like Jay at the back, a leader of this back line that suddenly is missing because of his international duty. Ball thrown in. Richmond trying to get the attack going. They like this possession base. They can build up the numbers. Chris Bermudez up at left wing again. Taking over for that spot for Muhammad, but Bermudez has seen plenty of time this season. He had his first goal this season, as I mentioned, against Madison last week. Muhammad getting a 1-0 victory with Somalia against Zimbabwe in the African qualifiers. Unfortunately, Dallas J's side, Guam, falling to Maldives in their first match of this international break. Bermudez bringing it down. Player down for Richmond after that contact, and immediately down in a heap. That was contact with Donnelly, and that is not the man you want to see down if you are a Richmond fan. Wahab Akwe has been such a sturdy presence at the back for Richmond. Former player with Inter Allies FC of the Ghanaian Premier League for 3 years. Young talent at that as well, despite his experience. Last season with New York Red Bulls 2, he had 1 assist in 7 appearances, making his 20th start, of the season. Right back up to his feet. Good to see there. But a presence really to watch going up against these attackers of Greenville. And it's swept on back to Uribe. Spent 1 year at Graceland University in the NAIA, then Southern Wesleyan University in Division II, where we had over 330 saves and 55 appearances. Native of Columbia. Over to Paulitz. This Greenville side, by far the best defense here in League One. Just 14 goals allowed. Next closest team has 24 allowed. As Tormenta in the last 2 matches giving up 9, and they've really lost the contention with Greenville for that best defense mark. And it's allowed Dallas J to be the leader in the Golden Glove race. Greenville also with the Golden Boot contender in Jake Keegan, who's out with what's being called a foot injury for today. Shouldn't keep him out for an extended stretch. That's what John Harks told us this week in our conversations. And that's the hope, at least, especially when you're trying to have your team peak at the right moment. Tyler Pollock down the field. Here's Carlos Gomez. Gomez plays it ahead, but stopped in time by Troyer. Here's Gallardo. Pollock, former St. Louis man, picking the ball off. And it's back with Greenville. Max Hemmings back at that right back spot, and a big key part of this recent run of form has been this new look for Harks on the right wing, with Boland with the offense, Hemmings at right back. And again, that's the look he'll have today. As without their main threat up top and Jake Keegan, but JJ Donnelly was signed to do exactly that. He looked good against Madison in his debut. But all eyes really on him at the top of the formation as they enter today. The former Tormenta 2-man in USL League 2. Also a star player at Campbell. And that's where John Hark says he caught his eye and his staff's eye. As foul is called, this brought back for the Richmond Kickers. A team really embracing that underdog mentality, and that's how David Bulow sees it as well. And you talk about the underdog stories on this team. Along with that, it's really fitting of that theme as Hughes and Richmond work it out of the back. A player like Joe Gallardo, not seeing much playing time in the last year, and such a star with the youth national teams for the United States, and getting one opportunity here and making the most of it to this point in the season. And one of his former teammates, Riley Kraft, being signed recently as well, and being a bench threat in the last 2 games, as this will be called back, another foul. A few fouls early on, back and forth between these two sides. This one by Donnelly, late challenge on Troyer. And these two teams actually, the two sides with the fewest fouls conceded in all of USL League One. They're very disciplined. Pressure coming early from Greenville. Here's Hughes. Trying to play it out of the back, deflected. Here's Donnelly. Donnelly stepping up into the box, lines it up, curler, and a save diving to his right. Oh, Fitzgerald getting a paw to it. It's an early corner kick coming for the Triumph. Another look at this one out of nothing. J.J. Donnelly, watch this bend. That would have been in, but Fitzgerald denying the striker. And Carlos Gomez, Greenville, a chance to get on the board here in the 9th minute. Carlos Gomez, the 25-year-old Spaniard, 5 assists this season to his name. He's tied 5th in League One. Former player of the week in week 20, whips it in, headed on. A good look by Greenville off the training ground, but in the end, it'll be cleared away. And back over to Uribe. Bolin down the field over everyone though, and it's going to trickle out of play. Select is the official ball supplier of USL League One and many of the finest leagues in the world. Since 1947, Select has been the leader in soccer ball quality and innovation. For the latest Select products and special offers, please visit SelectSportAmerica.com. And that Select ball settling into the grasp of the Japanese keeper, formerly of the Tampa Bay Rowdies, Akira Fitzgerald. 52 saves this season. He's 4th among League One keepers. Despite that frame at 5'11", he can really get up there and make some stops, as we just saw on that Donnelly save. Pollock from the left back spot. He'll sling it over near side, but out of play. Looked like he was going for Bolin. Walker just picking that ball away. Here's Gomez on the run. Magales meets him on the near side. Back to Bolin. Not many options in the box, though. They'll have to cycle this back and work on some possession. Hemmings. Back to Seiler and all the way through. Seiler, the right back for most of the season for Greenville. But some tweaks to the lineup have led to him more of a midfield role at times this year. Back the other way, though, Richmond breaking down this Greenville defense through the legs of Pollock, and it's the former Richmond kicker, Evan Lee, that clears it. Back all the way downfield where Fitzgerald will take it in. Richmond, a team that likes to get on the break. Magales will take it in near side, the Brazilian, making appearance number 15. Gallardo, back heel. Here comes the run of Richmond. Good run. Bulldog into the box left side. Cuts it over and stopped by Uribe. It would have been out of play either way. They want the corner kick, but it looks like the Greenville keeper kept it in play. Lockerbie goes down. Back to Greenville, trying to get things going the other way. J.J. Donnelly giving it off to Walker. Walker, today's captain for Greenville. He shares the duties with Pollock. They switch on and off depending on the game. Back ahead to the left back. He'll cut it inside. Gomez there flicks it ahead. Back over, up and off the end line. Back to Greenville. Seiler, Boland. Cut back by Troyer, helping out the defense. Shot coming in right into the arms of Fitzgerald. Remember that chance. What an opportunity on that through ball to Pollock. Another look, cuts it back. Gomez flicking it on, poking it to Donnelly, and clearing it just off the line. Fitzgerald would not have gotten to that. What a start here between these two sides with the Bon Secours Cup on the line. And Fitzgerald, a sigh of relief you could see there in his eyes. Donnelly showed some sparks against Madison, had one off the post, already showing that maybe his signing could be fruitful here for the Triumph. Pollock gets us started again, the home side trying to build again from the back. They had some good runs down the field just a few moments ago. It was Bolduck into the left side of the box. He's tied second in League One in assists with 6. Bermudez breaking things down out to Seiler. Boland cuts it over towards Donnelly, but it's headed away. Backline early on for Richmond, standing tall. Walker will have a flick. Donnelly there, Fitzgerald losing it, but he gets right back onto it. That'll give the home side some breathing room as the Kickers try to build from the back. Both these teams this season tied with 21 goals scored, both averaging about 1 per game at that mark. Kickers just 3-4-3 here at City Stadium this season. Recently going up 2-0 against TFC2, but giving away 2 in the second half, so losing that 3-point advantage. And only getting a point out of that match. Hemmings back top of the box, brought down by Bermudez, but Akwe clearing it. And it's out of play. It's back to Greenville on a throw-in. Donnelly flick on, ball sent in. Gomez there, headed up and through. Hemmings, the former Georgia State player, coming up to it against Lockerbie. Hughes there, shot coming, and just outside the reach of Fitzgerald. Another look here, the cutover. And we've seen Hemmings at times this season put on shots like this. Just off the mark. Currently Richmond 8th in League One in points per game at 1.2. Greenville at 3rd at 1.5, but that shows you how small the margin overall is in the table at this point. Lansing and North Texas extending their leads at the 1st and 2nd spots with wins yesterday. Toronto and Chattanooga, another 2-2 draw to add to their other one back on June 1st yesterday. We'll take you through all those highlights coming up at halftime in about 30 minutes. But my point is, Toronto and Chattanooga not doing anyone any favors and breaking up the pack in the middle of the table. Toronto right there at 26 points. Now with the draw yesterday, one above Richmond, but Richmond, if they win today, would jump over the side north of the border. Lockerbie the throw-in. Packed week for this Richmond side. They'll be back in action on Tuesday against the league leaders in North Texas. And that'll be a trip as well, all the way out to Frisco, just outside Dallas. Down the right side, through ball, Gallardo crossing it back in. Open opportunity, shot, and deflected away. It was Kevin Paulitz getting there and swept out of play. Both sides seeing the chances early, and a throw-in just inside the Red Army, out of play, and it's going to be a corner kick as it is tipped out by Pollock. So far, 5 shots, 2 on target for Greenville, 1 on target for Richmond. What a start. Gallardo will take the corner kick. He has 1 assist this season. Right in front of the Red Army. He'll swing it in. Headed up, but out of play. And what's the call? It will stay with the Kickers in their attacking end. After today, 3 more matches at home for Richmond. They have 7 matches overall remaining. Gallardo once more, the San Diego native, lining up. He'll send this in. Over everyone, and this will go out of play. And a missed opportunity for the former U.S. Youth International. Always a great atmosphere here in Richmond. Was in the USL Championship days and also today in USL League One. Good look at Uribe. The backup today for the Triumphant News signing in David Gretschek, native of Fairfield, New Jersey. Added to the list of New Jersey athletes on this roster for John Harkes, the New Jersey native. That's where he and his staff do a lot of their scouting. A lot of their connections there, of course. Donnelly in the box, flicked on through. Back out. Walker has a go. Trickled on and in, but Fitzgerald is there. Not testing the keeper too much. But Walker has 2 goals from about that range this season. Graychuk, the former Sporting Kansas City draft pick in 2017. He spent a year with Swope Park Rangers before spending last year with FC Motown in the MPSL. He's Rutgers' all-time saves leader. Greenville a few weeks ago, parting ways with Armando Quezada, another backup keeper they had. Here's Hughes. Akwe stepping up, slotting a ball through, but it's right to Walker, the former FC Cincinnati player. Chipped on by to Bermudez. Spent time with the New York Red Bulls Academy. Here's Gomez, met by Troyer, who's in his 5th season with Richmond. Paulitz chesting it down, another former Red Bull. Both at the U23 level in League 2. And also the New York Red Bulls 2 last year in USL Championship. Lee. Ohio Wesleyan grad, sending it down the field and out with the help of Josh Hughes. It's a Greenville throw-in. Given off to Hemmings. Ocean City Nor'easter throwing it in. There's Donnelly trying to keep it in play, and Hughes will whip this down the field. Polak working against Chin, who's one of the more experienced players on this Richmond side. Dennis Chin, 5 goals in his 18 appearances, entering today, the Kingston native. Spent last year with the Pittsburgh Riverhounds, but just 5 appearances for him. 5 goals in his time with playing in Israel, I should say. 22 goals over his time with Orlando City SC when they were in the USL Championship before they moved to Major League Soccer. And he was a 2012 Golden Boot winner, USL first team player. And of course, with so much young talent on this Richmond side, a great mentor, you have to assume, for his fellow kickers. Bame back over to Troyer. And here's Akwe. One of just 2 matchups in USL League One today after 3 went final yesterday. Madison and Tormenta will go at it coming up at 8 p.m. Eastern time. Finish off this game and then catch the second 45 of that one later tonight. As Tormenta trying to break their 7-match winless stride. Richmond going here. Lockerbie flicks it ahead. Bame was there, still alive for Richmond. Bolin heads it. Bit of chaos at the top of the box. A strike off Polak. At this point, Greenville just trying to clear it. They will, in fact, towards the near side, out of play. It's a throw-in, as Magales will come and take it. Last year with Tampa Bay Rowdies, also RGV the previous years. 56 appearances over his 2 years there on the Southern Texas side. Hemmings. Good press being shown here by Richmond. And they'll take it right back from Greenville. Here's Hughes, the Fort Worth native, over the chin. Chin, Gallardo, Bolduc near side. Troyer almost picked off, and indeed it is. Bermuda's on the run, but can't keep it from Magales. A good stop by the left center back in today's action. Bolduc. Bolduc, another Richmond kicker the last few years. He's in his 3rd season with the side, 29 appearances entering this year. Here comes the press from Greenville. Hemmings, Seiler, former Sacramento man, moving on back to Uribe. And Greenville will start from the back. Here's Lee. Lee, the Toledo, Ohio native, making 24 appearances with Richmond over 2 seasons. Ball over the top, headed on by Akwe, but safely into the arms of Fitzgerald. Fans, you can continue to enjoy the USL on ESPN through the 2022 season. The USL is excited to announce that the championship and League One will remain with the leader in sports for 3 more years. ESPN Plus will continue to be the home of all things USL, and at least 19 games a year will be featured on the ESPN family of networks, including 9 games on ESPN Deportes. Continue to follow, support, and watch your club on ESPN and ESPN Plus. Of course, you can catch that 8 p.m. Eastern Time matchup between Tormenta and Madison. And then as well, the Richmond matchup coming up Tuesday night as they head on over to Frisco, Texas to face off with North Texas SC. Greenville, their next matchup, coming against FC Tucson on Friday. They'll get Omar Muhammad and Dallas J back for that one, along with Paul Clowes as well. And you have to think John Harkes is hoping he'll have Keegan back for that. But a good start so far from this Greenville offense. Had a few chances over a string of minutes, but last few minutes have belonged to Richmond on their possession. Greenville has only faced FC Tucson once this season, and FC Tucson, Jamga, and Jordan Jones running rampant in Legacy Early College is a 3-1 win for FC Tucson. Greenville will host them again, as I mentioned on Friday, and then visit Tucson for their one and only time this year. Tucson and Lansing, the only 2 teams Greenville has not shut out at least once this year. They played all 3 matches against Lansing in the first half of the year. They've already played all their matches as well against North Texas. A favorable final stretch for Greenville. All their final opponents currently below the playoff line, as it is a foul drawn by Hemmings. Their final match of the season, the 4th and final match of the rivalry with Tormenta. Also see Toronto FC2 at Legacy Early College. And this brought back against Pollock. And he's one to watch in this match. He's 1 yellow card away from an accumulation suspension. So is Bermudez for Greenville. And there is the yellow card that will do it. So Tyler Pollock will be on the sidelines for the match against FC Tucson on Friday night for Greenville. That is a huge card in terms of their playoff push. But Richmond trying to reap the benefits of that card. Gallardo over the ball and a chance maybe to put it into the box. Early two-man wall here for the Triumph here on the road. Joe Gallardo. Gallardo puts it in. Dangerous ball. Uribe off his line. He picks it out of the air. He'll punt it downfield as well. Trying to spur the attack. Gallardo the header. Hemmings surveying traffic. The Triumph leading League One in clean sheets with 12. Richmond, they have 7. But still, Richmond among the top defenses in League One, giving up 26 goals this season. It's still just a 1.2 GAA. Hemmings near side. He'll service it out to Boland. The right winger losing it in the traffic, ran into 2 red kids, and Bolduc goes down. And Boland, you have to think this talking to about just taking that shot well after the whistle. This will be brought back for a Richmond possession. Back with Greenville. And here the Red Army in song on the far side, cheering on their side. Ball down the field, now to play. A hello from our crew over to the Reedy River Ride, hopefully tuning in at Growler House, taking in a drink, and joining us for this one. Out of play, and to David Bulow. Always eager to get right back out there. Headed on by Donnelly, but no one there as it will trickle out of play, led by Shanoski. Shanoski, a couple stints with Richmond, 4 goals and 80 appearances entering this season. Fitzgerald will take the goal kick here in minute 31. Again, if you're just joining us, the Bon Secours Cup on the line today. Both teams getting a win, both 1-0 entering today in the series. Bame, Akwe, and the Greenville win in this series, it was a, as I mentioned, a 1-0 result. And really it was just a mistake at the back in communication between Fitzgerald and Akwe as Keegan pounced on the opportunity, flicked it right over the keeper as he ran off the line. And that was enough for 3 points for Greenville on that day. Bame, service to Gallardo, lets it on to Lockerbie. Lockerbie running down the right flank, no call as Gallardo takes a tumble. It will stay with Richmond though, just in front of the Greenville bench. Pause in the action. As we'll have to see what's going on here. And the trainer will come on for the Triumph. It seems like an injured man for the away side. And indeed it is Boland. That's the last thing Greenville needs right now. They're very depleted on their roster today in terms of defense as well. Boland up at the right wing spot and clearly in some discomfort. And Greenville will take this as a water break on the far side. There's not many defensive options out there for Greenville in terms of bench players. They have Choi, who is a defensive midfielder. But because of Klaus being out and moves Seiler from the back line up into the field, and Hemmings already at right back, he's another defensive option, but he's being used as a starter. It's a worrisome spot for the Triumph, and Richmond may be able to pounce on it if they have to make a change for Dominic Boland. Boland making his 21st appearance, 15th start for the Scotsman. Played at Limestone College in South Carolina. 6 goals and 4 assists over his career. Has 1 goal, 2 assists for the Triumph in this campaign. Richmond awaiting the throw-in meanwhile. To this point, plenty of chances by both sides. 4 shots for Richmond, 6 for Greenville, 3 on target. As Boland a limp there, he's going to give it a go. It's something to keep an eye on as he continues in that right wing slot. And at least for the next few moments, down a man are the Greenville Triumph. Richmond gets us going again here from City Stadium. Again, I'm Chris Makovic. Thanks for joining us here on this Saturday for USL League One action. Week 24 already as Boland quickly comes back on the field. He's going to have to be waved back on. Akwe all the way back to retrieve it. Pressure from Donnelly. Richmond enjoying some possession here. Bolduc, service, oh, a great ball from the Richmond midfielder. Down the right flank. Ball sent in, but Lee, a better stop. Out of play as it's going to be a throw-in for the Kickers in the final third. Eli Lockaby will take it right in front of the Red Army. .13 points in the last 6 matches for the Richmond Kickers. Giving up just 4 goals over that stretch, 2 clean sheets. Here's Chin holding up the ball. Bolduc back to Chin. Chin strikes it, curler, but well off the mark. And then it will be a goal kick for Uribe. Looking for the latest USL League One news and content? Follow at USL League One on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram for exclusive access and updates. That ball is hoisted out of play. Uribe will have the goal kick. Bolduc back with Richmond just like that. It's been all Kickers the last few minutes. Hughes down the left side. He'll play it in, but just in front of his teammate as rolls out of play. Bolduc was there. Miscommunication, and both teams hitting a bit of a lull in this match. Early fireworks in the first 10 minutes. It has really slowed down with Richmond in possession. 2 teams that like to be in possession out there. Hemmings, pressure from Gallardo. It's a throw-in for Greenville. Both teams with at least 2 players on the team of the week. We'll see that at halftime as well. As Chin, Bolduc, and Gallardo up there for Richmond, and on the other side, Pollock and Walker for Greenville. Chinoski, tough spot. Back to Fitzgerald, flicks it on, back to the center back. Pressure from the Triumph, headed in. Walker fighting for it. Bermudez strikes it, and just up and out of play. Good opportunity coming from the left winger, but it's a goal kick for Richmond. Nothing to worry about for Fitzgerald. Fitzgerald back down the field on the goal kick. Hemmings heads it on. Knocked up and out of play. Safety from Megales. Hemmings. Donnelly. Knocked on and out of play by Hughes. And just like that, Greenville back in the final third against the Richmond defense. Hemmings losing it. Back to Boland. Flicks it on. Hemmings on the run against Troyer. He goes down, and a foul is called against Troyer. A free kick, basically a short corner kick for the Triumph. As Troyer, the Columbia, South Carolina native, taking down the right back of the Triumph. Troyer, a former 4-year starter at South Carolina. I'm sure there's a few South Carolina fans among the Clemson ones in the upstate. Gomez. One-man wall, as you can see, for Richmond. Gomez swings it in. Headed on, still alive for Greenville. It'll be Walker on the far side trying to make something of it. Seiler, still Seiler, swept away by Bame, and out for a throw-in, still with Greenville. Ticking towards halftime here at City Stadium. We'll have highlights from yesterday's action, all 3 matches in League One. Along with the best moments in USL Championship and League One from the week that was. Ball in, fisted away by Fitzgerald, and a foul is called inside the box. And the contact with the keeper, player down for Greenville. And right in the middle of the contact. Already a few nicks into the armor for Greenville here today. As we'll have to take another look at this one. But it was just a jumbled mess in the box on this play. We'll take another look here, just at least at the jumble mess, and it was Hemmings that went down. There he goes. And really an awkward landing as he ran into the arms of Fitzgerald. And he fell right on his side, but it looked like he was holding his knee. And Hemmings and Boland both going down from that right wing of the Greenville formation. And a troubled spot early on for John Harks on his side. But early on, it's been the Triumph with the more effective chances. 4 shots on target of their 7. 5 for Richmond, but they've been all off target or blocked. It's one thing to keep in mind with this Greenville defense all season. A lot of blocked shots, and 3 of the 5 have been blocked. by Greenville against Richmond. As Hemmings really in some discomfort. And the good thing for John Harkes in this type of injury is that he can always move Bolin back to the right back spot if Hemmings is unable to go. Looks like he's going to give it a go, though. Good sportsmanship from Fitzgerald. And Hemmings has been through a couple nicks here and there throughout the season. He's on the end of a heavy collision against Edwin Cirillo that drew the red card that helped Greenville get a 4-0 victory over North Texas at Toyota Stadium earlier this season. Back underway, but 10 men on the field for Greenville for now as Hemmings is still treated. Just a few minutes until halftime, so worst case scenario, Harkes and his side can stick with this current situation and evaluate at the break. 0-0, we stand here at City Stadium. Gomez back there to stop Hughes. Here's Bowen. Troyer trying the right side, Bame is there. Troyer, Bolduck. Targeting Shin, but off the mark for the forward as Uribe will take it in. Foul called against Seiler. Still in this lull in the match. Both teams may be settling in for halftime at this point. Richmond back in possession. They've enjoyed at this point 45% of it. Greenville with the other 55. But two possession-based attacks. Trying to be patient out there. Chin, Troyer. Troyer left side. Here is Hughes. Magales, Gallardo. Gallardo has really been smothered in the last 15, 20 minutes. We haven't seen much from him. Poked on through. Chin is there, so is Gomez, and he tips it on wide. Miscommunication at the back, and at the very least for this defense, it goes to a corner kick as Chin. Oh, what an opportunity for another. Beautiful look, too heavy of a touch. Gomez wanted Uribe just to clear that out of play, but the Colombian keeper didn't get the message. Maybe one final opportunity as we have a substitution. It is Edmundo Robinson coming on. So with this look, it seems as though Bolin will move back to the right back slot and Robinson will fill in at right wing. Hemmings is done for the day with an injury. Ball sent in, headed on off the crossbar and in. Richmond have the lead. And Greenville beside themselves as Richmond go and celebrate with the Red Army. 1-0 to the home side.
That's a goal for your Richmond Kickers.
That's 11 now in their last 7 matches, including today. We'll take another look. Gallardo, the assist. As it seemed unmarked in the pack of white kits. And it was indeed Troyer. A Richmond kicker true puts it in. Enjoying his 5th season with the Kickers, maybe giving them the biggest goal of this season to this point. Bonsecourt Cup on the line, and it begins with a Richmond strike. And they're on the board here just before halftime as we're into stoppage time. So away from that chaos, Hemmings going off for injury for Robinson, and then Troyer taking the opportunity and putting it in. 5 minutes of stoppage time brought to you by Kreger's. As Bolin takes a throw in, and Greenville looking to quickly respond. Still plenty of time in this first half. All it takes is one opportunity. In the previous two matchups, it was just one opportunity. 1-0 result, so Richmond has to be feeling pretty good at this point. Their first shot on target is the one that goes home. Assist number 2 for the Week 23 Player of the Week in Joe Gallardo. And for Braden Troyer, goal number 1 on this campaign. Down the right flank, but Robinson not there. It goes out of play. And Richmond taking full advantage of that injury opportunity as Robinson came running on, trying to find his man. You could see him frantically trying to find his spot, and they put it right where he was. And it was the header in on the back post by Troyer, right off the crossbar and pass to Uribe. David Beulah putting a move on that one, flicking it up. I remember a conversation at the beginning of the season. Got to talk to him ahead of opening weekend and said he would like to be right back out there, and really he blames his knees for that, not being out there. Richmond kicker, red running deep in his blood. 2 stints with the side, 2006, 2009, 2011, 2013. Retired 4th all-time in club goals. Someone so passionate about this club and this city, trying to lead them back to the playoffs, to the promised land after some struggles of late when they were in the USL Championship. Tackle from behind, and this will go back to Richmond as the final seconds of this first half tick off, and it's the captain Walker called for the foul. And a late challenge at that by Walker. Lucky to get away without a card. Another look. Gallardo, quick steal there and brought down from behind. And as I say that, Walker, late card, and he'll get it. So now 2 cards on the board, Pollock and Walker for Greenville.
Yellow card issued to Greenville's number 8, Aaron Walker.
That's his 5th of this campaign. We have finished off our stoppage time, and Richmond will have a free kick. They'll take it short side. Headed out of play, throwing for Eli Lockaby. There's the halftime whistle. What a first half for Richmond. Getting their opportunity and taking it with stride. A corner kick goal has the home side on the board to start things off 1-0. And an early sub by John Harkes in Greenville. And now maybe trouble brewing as they look to stay in 3rd place here in League One. But it's Richmond looking to play spoiler here at City Stadium. 1-0 at the break in favor of the Kickers. When we return, we'll recap Friday action in USL League One, and of course check out the week that was in League One and the USL Championship. We'll be back with the second 45 coming up next from City Stadium.
True investigations can take months, even years, to get answers, and that can be difficult. I look at the people who are putting their trust in me. I take that seriously. I've been a journalist for almost 25 years, and I still keep in touch with some of these families from one of my first stories that I've ever done. I'm investigative reporter Laura French, and I'm working for you.
New faces.
New players.
New ownership. New challenges.
New league.
New opponents.
New rivals.
Joyful. Authentic.
United.
Still your team.
Still obvious on.
Still the Richmond Kickers.
Problem Solvers Investigations with Laura French. Problem Solvers Investigations with Melissa Hippolyte. Tuesday at 11 on CBS 6 News.
New faces.
New players.
New ownership. New challenges.
New league.
New opponents.
New rivals.
Joyful. Authentic.
United.
Still your team.
Still obvious on.
Still the Richmond Kickers.
Welcome back here into Richmond, Virginia, and it is running red at this point. 1-0 at the break in favor of the Kickers over the Greenville Triumph. So much on the line today. The Bon Secours Cup, as one of these two sides, if they win today, will take home that cup in Greenville at the half. Back to the drawing board. Of course, so much great action in Week 23 of USL League One. Let's take a look at some of those highlights from the week that was, along with the USL Championship, coming up in the next few moments. On top of the box, strikes it true, back of the net. Oh, what a finish, Bustamante.
The attempt at an amazing goal. Or maybe a goal of the year candidate from Rodrigo da Costa. And here we go again. Kadima! Oh, what a strike.
Has been in the 11. And there's an effort from distance with Irving off his line. And that's our goal for the highlight reel there.
Oberg there. Plua. Shot goal! Plua with the bicycle! Conrad Plua! Dillon goes for goal. Oh, what a strike from Justin Dillon!
Now Gallardo for his brace tonight. So Gallardo. A nutmeg of St. Phil. What an opportunity for Joe Gallardo. A brace. And it's 4 goals for the Richmond Kickers. Mikey Rowe now. Rowe takes it on and it's in. What a strike. And Tormenta. Very patient. Here's Bermudez now back on his left foot. A curler for the top corner. Oh, what a goal. Bermudez. Torre will shoot. Oh. He will score. Calvin Torre. Let me say that you walked in. Oh, something. Something's got it. Oh my goodness. Lubin, what a save. Outstanding individual effort. They stand together.
News and notes from around USL League One. We start with North Texas. They added another win onto their total yesterday against Orlando City B. They have won against every single team, every single opponent here in League One over the course of the season. Helping out Richmond, we mentioned this, how tight the table is, keeping them in it as we move into our second 45 here today. And Joe Gallardo, so special all season, but getting back into his groove against Tormenta and getting him Player of the Week as well with that brace that helped Richmond to their most goals in a game this season. The standings entering today, 2 matchups, including ours here on the schedule. Madison and Tormenta about to get underway over in Madison, Wisconsin. But you can see how tight this table is and how important it is for the Triumph to get a good result here today, get some room maybe over the Pack in the standings at this point in the season. The upcoming schedule here for USL League One, jam-packed, fantastic action here, taking us down the stretch. You can see all the action that is lined up for you right here on ESPN Plus, starting Tuesday when it will be the Kickers back in action again against the league leaders, only team to clinch a playoff spot to this point in North Texas SC. The power rankings really showing what the table has shown of late. Greenville, Lansing, North Texas, the hottest teams overall to this point. Richmond, they're at number 7. They've been at number 8, but arguably maybe should be a bit higher with their recent run of form. Only loss recently has been against Madison. That was just a 1-0 finish at Breese Stevens Field, of course. Team of the week, our player of the week, Joe Gallardo up there along with his teammates Bolduc and Shin. Plenty of North Texas and Greenville along with FC Tucson as well across the board. The team's really performing the best at this point in the season. And with that, we'll check out our Friday action that did involve some of these teams, including FC Tucson in the late matchup. But we started with Chattanooga and Toronto. First time they met since earlier this season. It began with a PK by Perusa. They got him another one in the Golden Boot race, but 2 PKs won by both sides. That's the 3rd time it's happened in a match this year. Beatty would strike for his 9th of the season from the PK spot, tying it up for Chattanooga. But here comes the opportunity for TFC2 as we move deeper into the second half. Watch this strike. Oh, Faria putting it just outside the reach of Mangles. 2-1 Toronto, but their trouble this season has been defense at times, and that would continue. Ziguro's ball, not the one to watch here. It's Timmy Mell, the new loanee from NCFC of USL Championship. Doyle back over and an easy finish for Zayed, and that was the difference between a point and none for Chattanooga. And the equalizer again happening for Chattanooga against Toronto in the 83rd minute. They get a point. They'll take back to Tennessee with them as they stick in that pack in the middle of USL League One. Then we moved over to Orlando, where it was OCB hosting the league leaders. Demos over deflection, but John Nelson in there to poke it on home. An early 1-0 lead for the away side. Another look here in Demos. He can do it all on the field. So streaky there into the box and helping out his fellow North Texas player, putting it on in for John Nelson. OCB putting one in and no one marking Brandon John in the end. And you can see the dismay on the keeper for North Texas, Carlos Aviles, as went right on through the defense. Demos got one right back just after that goal, and then he would add another from the PK spot. Pretty clear foul, and Demos a brace against OCB. And you can watch it again right here, sliding it on home as he is the clear Golden Boot leader at this point. We finished off with Tucson and Lansing, a very enticing matchup here in Week 24. But Lansing proving not so to that, as it was Pato putting in a brace early on in the match. And you see the scoreline there, 5-0. If anything, Lansing proved a point that they deserve to be in the top 2 at this point in the season. The only team really threatening them at this point is Greenville, if they're able to get a good result today in Richmond, of course, as we enter the second 45. But Mo Shabani and the entire side, Reese Williams getting in on the action as well, putting that one home. And they were off and running the Ignite. The long journey proving fruitful as they won 5-0 last night over FC Tucson. What a win for Lansing. And of course, that brings us into the continuation of our action today in League One with our 2 matchups tonight. And of course, those 3 on the board after yesterday, as we'll see some movement in the table and maybe even more as we head into our night, and tomorrow morning could be looking at a different USL League One. Coming up, the second 45, and we'll check out highlights here from City Stadium as we continue Richmond and Greenville battling out here in League One.
Slow you down. We go lanes just down to 2. So if you are heading downtown, make sure that you're using extreme caution. Jim!
Huh?
Hey, Jim!
Me?
Yes! Hey, are you looking for these?
Yes. Thank you.
You're welcome. Be careful heading down 64. Traffic is backed up.
I will. Thank you. She just talked to me on the TV.
New faces.
New players.
New ownership. New challenges.
New league.
New opponents.
New rivals.
Joyful. Authentic.
United.
Still your team.
Still obvious on.
Still the Richmond Kickers.
Most connected morning team to each other and Central Virginia. And it's a good thing they are. CBS 6 This Morning.
New faces.
New players.
New ownership. New challenges.
New league.
New opponents.
New rivals.
Joyful. Authentic.
United.
Still your team.
Still obvious on.
Still the Richmond Kickers.
Welcome back here into Richmond, Virginia. 1-0 to the home side as we get set to enter the second 45. So much on the line today. Two hot teams here in USL League One trying to keep the momentum going. And also some hardware on the line as well. The Bon Secours Cup in front of us today for the winner, and so far it's been Richmond as we hit our halftime highlights here from City Stadium. Donnelly putting on this great move early on, and maybe with all this action you forgot about this, but a huge save by Fitzgerald, getting down with the right paw. Plenty of chances early on by the Triumph. This also a great one, saved at the end line by Hughes, getting down and dirty there to shove it off and away there to keep the Triumph at bay early on in this match. And it was a great spurt there, about 10 minutes for the Triumph. They were peppering Fitzgerald with chances. Here's another from Hemmings, who unfortunately would have to leave the match with an injury during first half stoppage time. And Robinson did come on for him if you're just joining us. So unfortunate for the Triumph, already having to use a sub here today. Another chance on by Walker. Wanted more of that one as it slid in to Fitzgerald. But those saves are the key in this match. So many opportunities for the Triumph, but they have not been able to put one home. On the other side, though, the same thing for the Richmond Kickers until they were able to take that opportunity on of late. Chin skying this one up towards the Bon Secours sign, as it is Bermudez as well getting one off just off the mark overall for the Triumph. There were 4 shots on target, 7 total, 6 total for the Kickers, and just 1 on target. Gomez miscommunication with Uribe, and this went out of play as Chin, too heavy of a touch, looking for another strike like he had last week. Gallardo putting this ball in. Watch Troyer get up off the crossbar, and then the Richmond kicker legend putting it in his 5th year and maybe his biggest goal with the side as he made that one count. As at the half, 1-0 Richmond, just like that. 2 yellow cards as well for Greenville, including that one to Tyler Pollock. As we're back underway just like that from City Stadium, and correct myself, believe it is the first goal for Troyer there in front of us at City Stadium as a long shot, a heat check, I guess you can call that, as we're out of the break, and just like that, Greenville coming out firing. And it'll be interesting to see how aggressive John Harkes' men come out after the break, as they will press forward potentially, and you see them already with a pretty high line. Robinson on the left now, Bermudez on the right. We'll see if also any other formation changes, as Hemmings had to leave with an injury. Again, I'm Chris McCovic bringing the action here from City Stadium. It is rocking here in Richmond, Virginia. The Red Army often celebrating some momentum just before halftime, as Pollock will take the throw-in upcoming. I guess we're looking for a ball here. That select ball not in distance. And we'll get one in. And just a bit close, I guess. About as close as that last shot. Tyler Pollock has to go digging in the stands. A little bit of a scavenger hunt for the former St. Louis man. Look what I found. And we're back underway with the throw-in. Richmond and Greenville doing battle here in USL League One. Greenville currently in third place all along, but just 1 point ahead of Chattanooga after they got a draw north of the border in Toronto. Richmond still deep in the table, just behind Toronto by a point, 3 points, and they would leap up into 8th place. They're still behind the pack, though. Chattanooga at 4th right now, so they are 8 points behind the final playoff spot as Bermudez gets set to take this corner kick. He has 2 assists this season, does the Union City, New Jersey native at just 20 years old. Bermudez whips it in. Ball sent and grabbed out of the air by Fitzgerald on the run. He's having a very good game so far. Bolduc, service ahead. Pollock gets to it. Here's Lee. Lee still battling for it. Evan Lee staying on the ball. Bame. He'll get it on back. Another VCU player on this Richmond side. He was also a kicker last season, was the 24-year-old. 14 appearances in their USL Championship campaign. Gallardo. Richmond this season, 5-0-2 when scoring first, a perfect record. Greenville on the other side, just 1-5-1, so 1 comeback draw, 1 comeback victory. That lone comeback victory way back on April 6th, and that was against Lansing Ignite, 2-1 finish. And for the League One fans at heart, they'll remember 3 red cards in that match. As Troyer takes it in. Shinosky. He'll pass it on back to Akwe. Knocked on by Lee. And Greenville at this point just trying to get some possession going. Tackle from behind by Bame, but it stays with Evan Lee. Boland, on that far side. Flicked on. Lockerbie down the right side. Here comes Bolduc. Knocked off his run. And it stays with Greenville. Troyer on back. Pollock. He'll retrieve it for Greenville as they got by that onslaught. Calls for penalty, but 50-50. Our head official decided. The foul is called on Richmond on the far side. Back to Bermudez and Greenville. Again, a reminder, just underway. Tormenta and Forward Madison scoreless 13 minutes in at Breese Stevens Field. 2 teams in the middle of the pack looking for playoff spots. Gomez, Robinson, Pollock. Pollock still. Donnelly back on through. Over to Bermudez. No, Boland back to Donnelly. He goes down, and we play on here at City Stadium. And it looked like Greenville got to the edge of the box, just did not know what to do with the ball. Maybe being a little bit too fancy out there. Gallardo. No chip in near side. Lockerbie has to retrieve this one. Troyer. Off of Gallardo, back with Lee, who stepped up the field. Donnelly, Seiler, Bermudez. Bermudez still in the box, shoots it, and a one-hop right into the arms of Fitzgerald. Another save for the former Rowdy. We'll take another look here. Bermudez can put a good strike into them from this point. He loves this spot. Still plenty of time for Greenville to pounce on an opportunity. Richmond as well to find an insurance tally. Gallardo, through ball. Dennis Chin on the run, but Seiler there as well. Paulitz, and cleared down the field. Bermudez, oh, great run. Brought down by Troyer pretty clearly. This should be a yellow card on the tug down. And the card is out of the pocket as the player will be retrieved. And it is Braden Troyer, so along with his goal, he'll get a card as well to his name today. His 5th of the season. And that will result in a suspension for the Tuesday match against North Texas. He was on yellow card accumulation warning. And for the Richmond fans tuning in, keep an eye on Joe Gallardo as well. He is the other player that was under a warning entering today. Out of play, it's a throw-in on the far side going the way of the Richmond Kickers. Fans of USL unveiled its elite youth platform, USL Academy. This allows clubs at all levels across the USL to develop its local youth and compete at the highest level across the United States, including the USL Academy Cup. For more information, visit uslsoccer.com/academy. As that ball is stolen back from Bermudez. Gallardo in there. Gallardo on the run. Here he comes. The Week 23 Player of the Week leading the charge. Knocked off the ball. A foul is called on Lee. Pretty clearly, knock off the ball. Common foul there on Evan Lee. That's the 10th foul conceded by Greenville. It's been a problem tonight for two teams that lead the league in where you want to be in the fouls conceded category, I guess you could say, at the bottom. And they're very disciplined sides. And Gallardo can whip this one in from this point. They already have a set-piece goal here today. Gallardo whips it in there. Dangerous ball headed out of the box. Pollock. Service ahead. There's Robinson, but cleared by the opposite 31 in Troyer. There's Walker. Lee stepping up really high into the midfield to start the second half. Not sure if that's a tactic from Harks. Pollock. Bermudez, Gomez in there. He'll run after it. Fitzgerald there as well. He'll punch it. Bame is there. And over to Lockaby on the near side. That was a dangerous play by Fitzgerald, but he felt the collision potentially coming with Gomez, so you can understand why he chose to do that. Maybe a bit of mind games from the Spaniard. As a player is down on the far side. It looked like Dennis Chin took a tumble and there was no one near him. I'm not sure what happened there. Hopefully got right back up. Janoski. Lockaby. Chin looking for the ball. He'll settle it in. Back heel. Beautiful move from the veteran. He won 2 USL Cups with Orlando City. Ball down the side. Strong run from Robinson. He'll get to it. Out of play. And a foul called on the forward out of Stone Mountain, Georgia. As Magala is sticking in there, putting his body on the line for Richmond. Fitzgerald will take this free kick. Just the 5th goal Greenville has allowed in the last now 11 matches. 11th tally for Richmond in their last 7. We saw that just before the break. 2 subs remaining for Greenville and all three for Richmond. Donnelly knocks it ahead, but a bit too far for Robinson. Donnelly has been quiet after an electric start to this match in the first 20 minutes. On, here's Bermudez. Akwe, enough to get it on by the winger. Heavy collision, Bame staying with it. Oh, the muscle in that one for the Cincinnati native. Right side, here's Lockaby. Richmond's own, putting it in, and Lee will clear it past Bame. And a foul was called in the end, it looks like, as Bame came in a bit late with that stood-up challenge, and Lee having a word as well. But he'll take the foul. Who's up, who's down, where does your club sit? Find out every Monday in the official USL League One Power Rankings, only on USLLeague1.com. Richmond a bit low on the power rankings compared to where they've been at recently as Robinson goes down. Greenville a bit higher up there. Here's Gomez out of play, draws the contact from Troyer. It's out for a Greenville throw-in. Here's Pollock. Pause in the action.
Substitution for the Richmond Kickers.
Richmond Kickers making the first sub of the day, as you can hear. And it will be Bame coming off. And what a force to bring off the bench, as it will be Mattia Mowape coming on, his speed now adding to the attack. The midfielder out of Zambia, 1 goal, 1 assist this season. Spent last year with Charlotte in the USL Championship. He's been a consistent threat for Richmond. Appearance number 17 this year. Off of Lockaby out of play. It's a throw-in for Greenville. Robinson, Pollock, still Pollock. Cut down by Troyer. He wanted the call. Nothing really there in terms of contact, though. Back all the way towards the Greenville bench. There's Boland. Up ahead to Seiler. Down goes Bermudez, and here comes the attack for the Richmond Kickers. Foul being brought back, as it will be a free kick for the Kickers at midfield. Wape also spending time with the Ocean City Nor'easters and Charlotte Eagles over the last few years in USL League 2. Free kick. Sent deep downfield and picked on up by Uribe. Haven't seen much in terms of changes for Greenville in tactics. This ball over the top towards Gomez, and enough on it to force a clearance out of Shanoski. Former DC United homegrown signing. Ball whipped in. Pollock there. JJ Donnelly got there, but off balance, so it went the other way. Gallardo shoved down pretty clearly by Paulitz. These center backs are playing so high right now for the Triumph. Bit dangerous. Well, Richmond still getting some ground on these fouls called. It's been a problem today. Not the way you want to take a free kick there. Seiler. Bermudez, here's Robinson. Bit of a give and go, but missed by Donnelly, and it is clear. That was a great look for the Triumph. And Lee will bring it on back as Gallardo provides pressure here at City Stadium. Ball down the right flank. There's Robinson. Power and pace from the forward, but can't get to the ball. And it's out for a throw in. Polak takes it in. Seiler can't get to this one as Richmond dictating things here at home at City Stadium. Chin grab from behind by Seiler, and it is a foul. One. I mean, with some of these moves David Bulow's putting on the sideline, you think he might come on as a player coach in the next few minutes. I mean, why not put on Bulow battling as a forward or attacking midfielder out there with John Harkes? Bermudez brings it down. Ball sent in. Over everyone, back to the opposite number 7 and Josh Hughes. Here's Walker, losing it. Richmond, oh, right back. Here's Kevin Paulitz. But again, missed hit on the pass. And Mowape, room here to make some moves. He'll service it far side. There is Dennis Chin. Chin sizing up Boland. Cuts back over. Cross in. Mowape there strikes it, but off balance and hits it. Wide open look for Mowape. Polak totally misread the play there. And unfortunately, right over his head fell to him. And Mowape not reading it right himself. Knocked out of play by Polak. He thought he got the deflection, but no, says our officiating crew. Lockaby. Polak out to Lee. Knocked off the ball, Akwe clearing it, but a great opportunity here for the Triumph. Love the free kick, and Akwe talking to maybe. The Ghanaian committing the foul, and it's Gomez over the ball. Sizing things up as numbers move forward for the Triumph, trying to equalize. Richmond, though, their defense has been so sturdy today. We saw the amount of chances at halftime they had in the first half. Saves by Fitzgerald. He's been excellent between the pipes. He'll be tested here, surely. Gomez, short route. There's Walker. Walker the strike, and off the head of Akwe. That would have been on frame. Another great stop by a defender of Richmond. Robinson trying to find room. Towards the end line. Out. No, it stayed in place. Spin on that ball. Kept it on the end line. And there was Fitzgerald. A sling of the ball. Out to Mowape. Tracking back is Donnelly. Fitzgerald. He'll whip this downfield. Again, the Bon Secours Cup on the line here today for the winner. Right now it would be in the hands of the Kickers. We'll have the presentation for you following today's match. Should be the start of a great rivalry regionally here at USL League One. Chin stretching for that one. Lockerbie was off sides. Chin still, and Line puts it across. Back post and up and off the head. Oh, another great chance for the Kickers on the run, and a player is down. We'll have to see who this is on the back post. Didn't catch it. A tough fall on that, off the head, and some cramping as we enter the hot summer evening here in Richmond. Indeed, it is Hughes. That's who I thought it was. And 2 goals, 2 assists for him. He nearly found a third there. What an opportunity. You want to mention something I saw in the pregame. You see the Charlie Slagle sign there, an executive for Richmond and a great soccer legend here in the United States, passing away recently, and so much love around the soccer community on social media. And in the pregame, if you head to the Twitter accounts, Greenville and Richmond, John Hark's presenting a Greenville jersey with Charlie Slagle's name on it to David Bulow in the pregame. Fantastic moment there, coming together in USL League One, and tip of the cap there to the Triumph and also the Kickers there. 2 high-class organizations here in this new league. And a great tribute there to a legend that will surely be missed here in all parts of the soccer community. Fitzgerald will have the goal kick here. Swinging it deep down the field. Evan Lee. Tyler Pollock. Greenville just cannot build much towards the final third at this point. They get balls down there, but just are not finding much from them. Through the legs of Robinson, no one really there. Gomez after it, but cleared downfield by Fitzgerald. And Richmond will do this all night and just bat balls down the field. Trying to hold on to this clean sheet. Would be their 8th of the season. Seiler. Seiler still running into his own teammate as Robinson goes down. Probably had the air knocked out of him. As he'll need a moment. What a thud there between the Greenville players. As the sub on in the first half, slow to get up. He should be okay. So coming up after their match on Tuesday, Richmond back at home next Saturday, and it's Heritage Night here at City Stadium when they take on Forward Madison. Gates open early at 4:30 for the band Reboliso, showcasing Brazilian dancers and food by Dank Eats and Ucrop's food truck. 4-time national champions Highland Springs Stomp and Shake team will be on site with a halftime performance and bid on a custom pregame warm-up jersey. The proceeds benefiting Connexiones and the Black History Museum, and also the Beta Gamma Lambda chapter of the Alpha Phi Alpha fraternity. Game starts at 7 p.m. And of course, get your tickers right at RichmondKickers.com. And why would you not want to be part of this great atmosphere here tonight? The Red Army banging the drum and setting the tone here at City Stadium. As Josh Hughes and Richmond get the ball back here on the free kick. Lee heads it back towards midfield. Greenville trying to build ahead, and still it's with Richmond. They've been so good keeping the ball away from the Triumph. Aquay. Walker. Ball sent in, cleared before it could find Donnelly. Down the field, here's Chin, and slid away by Lee right into the Richmond bench. Gallardo. It looks like Daniel Jackson may be getting set to come in for Richmond. And Daniel Jackson, some late game heroics throughout the season. And a heavy challenge there as Robinson bringing down Gallardo, and he'll get a card right off of that. 3 yellows now this season for Robinson. Another look. Oh, a heavy collision there as he guided the ball away. Asking for the card. And Gallardo, a smile there, knowing he was able to frustrate Greenville there in that moment. Apologize for these momentary technical difficulties here from Richmond as we await the continuation of our match between the Richmond Kickers and Greenville. Back here into City Stadium. Apologize for the technical difficulties, but we're back underway here as Greenville down 1-0 on that first half goal by Braden Troyer. And that's the 75th minute. Again, up here for the winner of this match will be the Bon Secours Cup. Will be presented at the end of the match. We'll have that for you as Uribe gets into this one. Bullock takes it in. Knocked on by. Here's Donnelly. Donnelly out wide. Here's Seiler stepping up. He strikes it on and just in front of Gomez. It finds Fitzgerald on the save. An early chance from the outside as we enter the final 15 minutes of play. There was a change as Daniel Jackson came on for Dennis Chin in the last few moments. Like for like switch at the top. Of course, Daniel Jackson, 4 goals this season for the 30-year-old. Former 4th round draft pick for Real Salt Lake back in 2014. Most recently in USL play. Spent time with Oklahoma City, 13 appearances, but recently playing in Finland and Tasmania. 18th appearance here in 2019. Pollock will take this throw in momentarily. Sub on as Cameron Saul will come in for Chris Bermudez. Saul making appearance number 13 on the season, 1 goal, 1 assist for the London native. Spent the last 2 years with Asheville City SC of the MPSL. Playing there with Dominic Boland of late. Akwe stepping up. Here's Mwape. Lockaby. Fitzgerald. Lee. Down to Walker, but stolen back for Richmond. On into the hands of Uribe. Down the flank, but out of play. Richmond having everything go their way at this point. Again, they are undefeated when scoring first this season at a record of 5-0-2. And it seems they're headed that way towards a victory at this point. Foul is called against Jackson. It's going to be a free kick for Greenville. The away side having used 2 subs in this match, 2 used by the home side as well. On the board, 10 shots for Greenville, 5 on target, 7 for Richmond, just 1 on target, but that 1 finding the back of the net, and that's all you really need. All that matters is the scoreline at the end of the day. Up and out of play. Play back across, sticky situation, forcing the clearance downfield. Here's Lee, but Gallardo coming straight in at him. If this result stands, Richmond would move just 3 points back of Tucson and would be 5 points back of the playoff line. And of course, keep in mind, Madison and Tormenta underway in their first half. 41st minute, and it's 1-0 Madison. Akwe winning the ball back. Under pressure off Gomez. It's the throw in for Richmond. And also, if this result stands, it would be 16 points in the last 7 matches for Richmond. What a run that would be. That ball driven out of play. If you're just joining us, the difference in this match, that corner kick before halftime. Gallardo the assist over to Troyer at the back post, who headed it off of the crossbar and in. Lockaby will have the throw-in on the near side. Pollock battling with the right wing back out of play, and it's another throw-in for the Kickers. They'll take this all night long in the final 10 minutes. Gallardo opening things up. Wide open room on the far side, but just in front of Hughes. He'll continue his run and keep this in play. Boland stepping up. Mwape. Stolen back by Walker. Uribe off of Jackson and taking a lucky hop for the triumph. Out of play off of the striker. Headed on, Donnelly. Here's Lee. Lee down the left flank. over everyone, though, and these long balls just are not working at the moment for the Triumph as they can't break down this Richmond formation. Would be the third clean sheet in the last 7 for the Kickers. And running into a really long stretch. It'll be 3 matches in 7 days, including tonight, then Tuesday at North Texas, and back home for Heritage Night coming next Saturday against Forward Madison. Forward Madison side in line to take over third if their result stands. And this one does as well, of course. Pollock. Robinson tiptoeing the sideline, goes down, play continues. Donnelly up, but Shanoski will make sure of it. Back down the other way. Physical battle this evening here at City Stadium. 26 combined fouls conceded. Robinson, right side. Politz losing it. Here come the Kickers. Great run, but upended by the Triumph defenders. And this will be called back for the injury. Split the double team, but losing the ball. Saying some contact to the head. On the arm coming back. Quick breather for both sides. We'll see if any tactics change as well. As Bolduck up and moving, and that's what you like to see for the Kickers faithful. Drop ball, and it's restarted by the Triumph, taking it on back to the back line. Lee chips it. Saul on the run. He'll take it in against Akwe. Pollock, service in, whips it. Header no good. Robinson will take it in on the right side. Robinson still flicked up. Donnelly there, but so is Fitzgerald, spinning and taking the ball down. The former Wake Forest grad looks so good here today. No look as Robinson squeezed this on by Shanoski. Enough of a touch to keep it away from Donnelly. Politz, Lee. Pollock. And Greenville forcing numbers forward. As Evan Lee is up with the midfielder, Seiler dropped back. Robinson. Robinson whips it in. Dangerous cross headed away. Wape. Gallardo chests it on. Run continues. Jackson cleaning things up for Richmond. And Pollitt sending it out of play. Under 5 minutes plus stoppage time remaining from City Stadium. That one goal in the first half for Richmond, standing true to this point. Again, of course, McCoy bringing the action from City Stadium. It's been an intense match between the two. Now, Richmond has really slowed things down. Again, right here on ESPN Plus, you can switch on over to Madison and Tormenta doing battle. They're at halftime at the moment, but they'll be back in action shortly to continue and finish off your USL League One week. Plenty of action coming up next week, starting with Richmond against North Texas on Tuesday. Greenville back in action Friday night, back at home against FC Tucson. And Bolduc goes down holding his left knee. Another look here, see what happened to Bolduc. And just his knee getting stiff up against Boland. We're underway. Here's Lockerbie. Mawape. Strike coming, but Uribe right there. He did not need to touch that, and it skirts on by for a Richmond corner kick. Gallardo will take the corner. Richmond looking for win number 4 at City Stadium this season. We had 5 minutes of stoppage time at the end of the first half. We may be headed for a similar number for the second 45. What a result this would be for the Kickers, saying that they are part of this League One playoff battle. Knotted out of play, it's a goal kick. David Bulow saying, don't tell me the odds. They love this underdog story, and they still have a chance, especially if they hold on to 3 points here this evening. Uribe over the ball. Getting set to kick this away. Sub will occur first, as Maxi Rodriguez comes on for Matt Bolduc, who did go down injured a few moments ago. Maxi Rodriguez, a familiar face to the lineup, spending the last 2 years with the San Antonio FC, 2 goals and 37 appearances, 20th appearance this year for Richmond. Daniel Jackson felt some contact there. He's holding his face. Play continues out for a throw-in. And Travis Ward, the pride of Rowan University, coming on, looking to make one final strike. He has 1 goal this season, coming at Lansing in the early part of this campaign. Robinson splitting the defenders, and he gets a deflection off himself. It's a goal kick for Richmond. We're hearing 4 minutes of stoppage time as of now. So plenty of time left in this match. A frustrating night for Greenville, considering the chances they had early on, and give credit to Fitzgerald, some amazing saves out there, along with some stops from his defenders. Keep in mind that Hughes stop at the end line on the Donnelly chance in the early going, as our Krager stoppage time at 4 minutes. Knocked on by Gallardo. Seiler after it. And it's out for a throw-in. We will be giving you the Bon Secours Cup presentation following the action here as we hit our 4 minutes of stoppage time. Right now, it will be in the hands of Richmond. What a performance they have put on, and still are. Mawape through the traffic stop by Lee. And Greenville trying to hold on to some hope of their own here. left flank, but too heavy of a touch by Donnelly. Back to Ward. Ward looking ahead. He'll scoop this. Robinson there, headed on, back post, but just up and over the crossbar. A sigh of relief there from Fitzgerald. It's a goal kick. Greenville trying to strike at the death. Look at the service from Ward. Headed on and just over the crossbar. The Red Army up in song as they await the final 2 minutes here, hoping to hoist a cup here in 2019. Pollock, keep in mind he will miss the Friday night match against SC Tucson for Greenville with yellow card accumulation. That'll be a huge loss for John Harks and his side. They will get Paul Klaus back for that match though, along with Dallas J and Omar Muhammad. Pressure from Jackson. Troyer will miss the Tuesday match against North Texas as Lockerbie streaking forward into the box, but he'll lose it. Too heavy of a touch there as he continued his run. Gallardo takes it in. Lee stops it. Final hope here for Greenville. On the road, looking to steal a point. Heavy challenge. Ball whipped in, knocked away on the volley. And this will be brought back for a free kick for Greenville. Not sure what happened there. It's a quick restart. Down the right flank. Rodriguez tried to make a quick move, but losing it. Final few seconds here from City Stadium. Last opportunity for the Triumph. The Richmond Kickers faithful and the Red Army ready to burst out here and celebrate. In the RVA, it's running red this evening. Ward. Still Ward. Trying to cut it around, do it himself, but could not pass Rodriguez. Gallardo burning out the final few seconds. Lockerbie near side. Pollock takes it in. And there is the final whistle. The RVA runs red tonight. It's 1-0 the victory for Richmond. Their playoff hopes stay alive. And they'll be hoisting the Bon Secours Cup coming up next. It finishes 1-0 in favor of Richmond. We'll recap things coming up in the next few moments.
New faces.
New players.
New ownership. New challenges.
New league.
New opponents.
New rivals.
Joyful.
Authentic.
United.
Still your team.
Still RVA's on.
Still the Richmond Kickers.
It's not just Zach's daydream. For the most epic weather coverage in Central Virginia, trust the CBS 6 Weather Authority.
New faces.
New players.
New ownership. New challenges.
New league.
New opponents.
New rivals.
Joyful.
Authentic.
United.
Still your team.
Still obvious on.
Still the Richmond Kickers.
Welcome back here into Richmond, Virginia. 1-0 to the Kickers as they keep their playoff hopes alive with 3 points against the Triumph, and they move a bit closer to the playoff line, just 3 points back of FC Tucson now. As we check out our full match highlights, and Greenville, a majority of their chances came in the first 20 minutes of action. Early on here, the flick on by Gomez, Donnelly there, but so is Josh Hughes, knocking it away from the end line. A second go of things right here from Greenville on the rebound, but not getting by Fitzgerald, who had a great night in between the pipes, as he was peppered by chances left and right. Here, Hemmings, he would have to leave injured just before halftime. That seemed like a big blow to the Triumph attack as it continued throughout the match. Dennis Chin, a heat check there outside the box, and Greenville would keep the chances coming. Bermuda's a great strike, but off the mark as well. And here comes Chin, too heavy of a touch. But miscommunication there with Uribe a few times here in this match, and then put on a platter. Troyer up and in off the crossbar, and he would celebrate with the Red Army his 5th season with Richmond, and putting in one of his top goals there to give them the 3 points in the end. We would find out as we finished out the 90 minutes a few moments ago. From there, it was all Richmond, as Greenville just could not get many chances going, as it was far outside the box at times. That's where most of their chances came from, and Fitzgerald would take that all day, scooping it up. Another one here from Seiler, again rolling right to the Richmond keeper, as he would continue onto his clean sheet, his 8th of the season. And here you can see the Bon Secours Cup right there. It's going to stay right here in Richmond, and should be a great start to a rivalry here in USL League One. 2 wins in the series for Richmond here this season, and another 1-0 victory, as all 3 results have been 1-0 in favor of one of the 2 sides. As Greenville has to watch the Kickers hoist this cup, presented by Bon Secours. And here's Maxi Rodriguez on the side, hoisting it. Fitzgerald as well. And very deserving here. Gallardo putting the goal on a platter for Troyer, and he heads it home at the back post. Richmond hoping this will be the first of maybe 2 cups to be hoisted, as they still have a chance to make the playoffs. And there it is, the first Bon Secours Cup going to the Richmond Kickers. Now we'll check out our full match stats. Clearly in favor of Richmond, but the funny thing is Greenville getting the better of the chances overall. They had 6 shots on target of their 12 total, and just 1 on the board for Richmond, and that one a goal, and that's all that counts at the end of the day. The score line, a very physical battle for 2 teams that are very disciplined all season. 29 fouls conceded combined, 3 yellow cards for Greenville, 1 for Richmond. Troyer will miss the next match for Richmond. For Greenville on the other side, Pollock will miss the next match, and we'll see how that affects things down the line as we finish things at 1-0 here from Richmond, Virginia, as the Kickers making a statement to the league here tonight. But be sure to stay with League One this evening. Forward Madison Tormenta underway in the second half. Madison leading 1-0, but for now it finishes 1-0 here in Richmond, Virginia. For our entire crew, I'm Chris Makoviak, and stay with us for next week of USL League One action. Back on Tuesday, Kickers North Texas. We'll be here with you right here on ESPN+.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League League One cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the expressed written consent of the United Soccer League League One.